So how long did it take for the police to actually apprehend her?
On about 2 weeks, they put on Amber Alert and was monitoring his phone calls, and it was just crazy the things that was going on. I couldn't believe our own child not being abscond. We didn't abscond. We do things officially. We went to the hospital. For them to be chasing us with the police and the CPS, I don't know really what was the end game.
Okay. Also, so all right. So the treatment. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm sorry, bro. Like I'm just constantly astounded. This is why I wanted to be here to see if we can try to actually get some form of real answers. So, child support, not child support, child protective services are involved now. The police is linking the police department, or is it Omaha the police department?
Lincoln Police Department.
All right, and that's where you guys were residing, was in Lincoln, and
Yes.
just the children's hospital is in Omaha, so that's why you went to Omaha.
Right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Didn't want to confuse any listeners. Did she ever get a chance to go to the doctor when she reached Nashville?
Well, by the time because the police keep start calling her when she was on her way. So black people with police does not go down well.
Right.
She was just perplexed, just
Probably scared.
scared, and she went to a friend's home and was afraid to even step out.
Mm, okay. Now, after she was apprehended and charged on allegations of neglect or abuse, were you ever charged?
I was never charged.
Okay. And how long did her trial last?
About 2 years.
She that's all together, or just her case was about a year?
Well, the both case was kind of
Simultaneously, they were
simultaneously.
back to back.
Yeah, yeah.
So that means she was her trial for allegations of neglect and abuse was about a year, and the second trial was a custody hearing.
Yes, that was me.
Right.
Because me and her is not together.
Okay.
We live in different entities. So taking the child from her, I thought they are supposed to reasonably give me the child because I haven't did nothing wrong.
Right.
And our child doesn't know anybody.
Because at this time, the child's in foster care because of the charges when she got arrested and apprehended in Tennessee.
That is correct.
Okay. How did that make you feel knowing that your child was in foster care and instead of your care and being an innocent bystander in this situation?
Well, I was disappointed by CPS because they told me since my name was not on the birth certificate, they're gonna do their own DNA test, and if the test come positive, they will give me my son. And then I went for the DNA, the test came positive, and then things took another dimension. They never wanted to give me my child.
That's a cold shot. That's a cold shot. Now, backtracking for a couple seconds here. You said the procedure for the biopsy was supposed to take like 10, 20 minutes is what they notified you?
That is correct.
And how long did it actually take?
An hour plus. I nearly fell asleep in the waiting room.
Mm. And while the child was in the custody of Nebraska's foster care system, Do you feel your child was taken care of?
My child went through the worst abuse any child could go through. I have photographs of those images of abuse. Because anytime I went there, I go to see my child like 2 times, 2 days in a week. And anytime I go, he has scratches, wounds on his head or some parts of his body, and I take photographs and I send them to CPS. I email them, tell them what's going on. They will not reply me, they will not answer to me, they will just turn a blind eye.
All right. So, long story short, Abak, the mother of your child, was she convicted of these heinous charges?
Well, she told me they work a deal with her and
A plea bargain?
a plea bargain with her. And something kind of confuses me. The time of his trial, they told me I have to go testify. And then they called me to do a test interview with me. And after that interview, the day for the trial, they never, they I don't know if they call it subpoena. That's where you need to go by law.
Right.
They subpoena me to go. And after the test trial interview me, when the day comes for the trial, yeah, they didn't want me to come and testify anymore. So that bothers me.
That would bother me too. It'd be super confusing, as I'm sure some listeners maybe still are confused. So, long story short, you went to the doctor to get some care for your child. They end up saying that it's cancer. After at least about 4 months of following through, he lost motor skills in his right hand. And at this point is where you guys decide to get another second opinion, notify the hospital of such, and then within 2 days, CPS is calling you on allegations of abuse by Abak towards your son, Prince Rahan. So she was never technically actually convicted for this crime.
Not that I know of.
And you were never charged, excuse me, you were never charged or convicted yourself of anything.
Well, they didn't find me wanting of anything. My lawyer told the judge at the time, Linda Porter, to dismiss this case, give this man his child. He hasn't done anything wrong, but the judge, for some other reason, refused to listen to the lawyer and held my son.
But they also said that the judge did state that he's not going to give him back to you at the moment, but referred that you have someone, that you reference someone else that the child can go to, and that's where the state should place the child?
That is correct. That is something that surprises me as well, because the judge had ordered CPS to ask me to give names of people, potential people that this child could possibly live with temporarily. I gave CPS a list of 6 people, and one of them was the favorite. He was in the military and he works for the immigration at the present moment. So he has all the qualifications
of a great citizen, right?
Right. And CPS has they refuse giving this child to this man. I don't know for what reason. They keep holding this child at this foster home. I don't know what's between them and this foster home. So they didn't even listen to the judge's order.
So that's where this fight comes in, for the fact that after both trials, you were still never given your child.
Right.
Which legally you did nothing wrong and have all legal rights and did everything that they've asked you to do legally to obtain custody of your child. you have done such, and they still refuse to give you your child. In this process, after this trial, and you still trying to get your son, your child passes.
Well, at the last segment of the trial is when the foster home took the child to the hospital without my consent. Because every time they take the child to the hospital, they had to call me. I have to be there. They never called me. They took him on a Friday. I was expecting my son to have come for a visit with me, to a sleepover visit. I never seen him come. I called the supervisor and they told me foster parent took him to the hospital. I said, how could they take him to the hospital without my consent or without me being there? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the hospital called me. I was in my office. They called me, they said, oh, your child cancer has returned and this time it's in his stomach. I was flabbergasted because how could you in 3 days, let me say in 2 days, because Saturday and Sunday is weekend. Where did they get those findings? Where did they get, which lab did they take the whatever they did to have come to that conclusion? So that's remained a mystery.
Yeah, questionable. So this is where the fight for Prince Rahan comes in, period. Is in the process of the court not finding anything on you or the mother Abak. Your son was never returned to either of the parents or nowhere in his family. In this fight, he's passed. And I'm sure it has to be a broken heart on top of everything else because it has to weaken the depression, weakens the immune system.
Yes, this is what happened. Shortly after the final trial, that's when they gave me the child. By that time, they started giving him chemotherapy. And that is what caused his death. Because the hospital gave him a medication that is meant for older people. This medication went and messed up my son's liver. It got so much trouble, it got swollen up, and eventually that's what takes him.
And that's why he was still in the care, foster care, right? Because you
No.
never got him back?
But they gave him to me in May. That's when they gave him to me, when they already started chemotherapy with him.
So pretty much, okay, now it makes more sense to me. The fight is because when they went to the hospital without your permission, there's a lot of medical history they did not know about your son, and in return, they gave him some treatment that pretty much was the cause of his death.
That is correct.
And this is the fight that you're having now. So your fight is with the hospital and CPS?
That is correct. Because
and foster, I would say the foster care system as well.
That is correct. Because I found them to have made provision for my child to lose his life. Because if they had given me my son earlier, this could not have happened. And the worst thing that happened, I told CPS to change the doctor for my child when they brought him. Because we and this doctor has bitter blood. We told them to change the doctor. CPS refused. And the other thing that happened is when they make this last diagnosis, I asked them to give me the evidence, the proof. I went to my lawyer. I said, I want to see what the lab results for that latest diagnosis. It never came. I never got it. My lawyer pushed, nothing. I talked to CPS, nothing. I asked the hospital, they never gave me. So that's remained questionable.
So pretty much, we're fighting for your closure.
That is correct.
This closure is the only justice your child will ever see in this whole situation.
That is correct.
And that's the only way for your family to heal at the moment is to at least have people acknowledge their wrong.
That is correct. My son has gone through hell that no child in this country should have gone through. And I think this is why I want to bring this back so we can find justice so that people will pay attention to some of the negative allegations CPS levy on parents that are good parents and ended up let those kids lose either their lives or lose a better living in this country, this great nation.
I commend you once again for your strength in this journey, in this fight for Prince. Because I agree, you know more about your child than everyone else. You're not here for a check. That's your child, you've been taking care of it, so you would have denied that treatment.
That is correct. I saw so much injustice. So much injustice. Some of which I have not mentioned because of time.
Right. And at the end of the day, if we can stop another parent from having to deal with this situation, that is the ultimate goal here in justice for conclusion and closure that you're looking for.
That is correct. I don't want other parents to go through what I went through for over 2 years.
And that's crazy because the legal system seems to be Roe versus Wade, as far as controlling of a woman's body, and then now they're just outlawing parenting for the most part to support a foster system that in this case was unnecessary.
Very, very unnecessary.
Because as the more I'm listening to this and the more the facts keep coming in, this all could have been avoided. This could have been dealt with so many different ways, rather even on a legal level. This could have been dealt with so many different fashions with a more positive result. And I see that for myself, and I hope the listeners see that. Any listeners that have comments, questions, or whatever, you already know, Q96 to beat. Hit us on any of our social medias, inbox us. How do the public reach you if they want to help you or assist you in this fight for closure for Prince Rahan?
Just contact the radio station. I give you guys my information.
All right, you guys heard that here first from Muhammad Kamar. My brother, I commend you, and this is not going to be the end of this. We will continue to help you fight. We stand for justice, and as president of Divine Souls Incorporated, this is what I do. I help single fathers and BIPOC community kids. So we will continue to help you fight for this justice and this closure, brother, because I see the pain in your eyes. And the moment I've heard this story, hearing you publicly speak, it actually brought tears to my eyes, and I'm not really that in tune like that. So yeah, I definitely once again commend you. There's no other words that I can say to this, brother. And this will conclude our quick moment, and we will give you a second right now to have any last comments.
Well, I would want to thank the radio station to giving me time to have this information out, because I promised my son that when he was taking his last breath, I told him, I said, son, I know what is taking you down. I've seen it all, I experienced it all, I've been with you from the beginning to the end. You took your last breath in my arm, and I will bring justice to the table for you. in a legal way. And right now, I'm looking for a positive lawyer that could take my son's case and bring him closure and justice. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you very much for your time, brother. And this, once again, will not be the end of it. On my end, I will do whatever I can, any of the resources that I have to help assist this. And once again, if any listeners want to be involved or just gain more information about this, contact us. Once again, that's Q96 The Beat on all social media platforms, Roku, and any Amazon device. I am D-Boy Jackson, Mr. Never Not Tapped In, Nebraska Fleet DJs. Peace.